When we think about what it means to be rare, we usually picture someone who's just different on the outside, maybe a little quirky. But what if it has nothing to do with how you act? What if it's all about the actual wiring of your mind? Okay, let's really get into this.
Just take a second and think about that. Have you ever felt like you're watching a movie that no one else in the room can see? Or like you're tuned into a frequency that's just static for everyone else? That exact feeling, that's the core of what we're going to explore today.
And this right here is the crucial point. We're not talking about personality quirks. We're talking about the deep-down psychological framework that makes a mind truly rare. It's all about your internal operating system, not the apps you run on the surface.
So let's start from the inside out. How does a mind like this actually process thoughts and emotions in a way that's, well, just different from the norm?
So for most people, an event happens and they react to the what. But your brain, it's already 3 layers deep. You're not just seeing what happened, you're instinctively pulling apart the why behind it, the hidden motives, the patterns, the whole web.
Now, this habit of constantly digging for the why comes from a really cool skill called metacognition. It sounds academic, but it's simple. It's the ability to think about your own thinking. But this isn't just daydreaming, okay? It's a tough self-analysis that demands a kind of brutal honesty most people would rather avoid. It's so rare because it forces you to look past your own ego and see your blind spots. And that's a job that's never, ever finished.
Okay, picture this. A crisis hits. Everybody's running around. The panic is contagious. But you, instead of getting sucked into that vortex, you feel this weird sense of calm, of clarity. Your mind doesn't scatter, it sharpens. You can suddenly see the path through the noise.
This isn't because you're cold or you don't have feelings. It's the complete opposite. You feel everything, probably more deeply than most. The difference is you've mastered something called emotional regulation. You understand your emotions instead of letting them hijack you. And this is super uncommon because, our brains are literally wired to react instantly to threats. It takes so much conscious work to override that ancient programming.
And this is the fundamental difference. Reacting is that knee-jerk automatic impulse, but responding, that's a conscious choice. It's that tiny pause you create between the trigger and your action, and inside that little gap, that's where all the power is.
Okay, so we've taken a look inside. Now let's talk about how this internal wiring completely changes how you show up in the world and how you deal with other people.
You know that feeling, right? When someone looks you in the eye and says, "I'm fine," but their whole vibe, every nonverbal cue, is screaming that they're absolutely not fine. You're not just hearing their words, you're reading the invisible data, the tension, the energy, the unspoken story in the room. This isn't just a hunch, by the way. It's a real psychological skill called empathic accuracy. Think of it like having this high-def emotional radar that is always, always on. It's an incredible gift for understanding people on a deeper level, but man, can it be exhausting? Because you can't just turn it off. In a world this noisy, your emotional processor is always running in the background.
For a mind like this, social energy is not an infinite resource. It's a battery. And you'd rather plug all of that power into one deep, real conversation than spread it thin across 100 superficial ones. Small talk doesn't just bore you, it feels like you're literally wasting seconds of your life.
And this is exactly why big parties or corporate networking things can feel like a special kind of hell. It's not that you're antisocial, not at all. It's that your brain is just hardwired to reject anything that feels fake. It's starved for what's real, even if what's real is a little uncomfortable or awkward.
All right, so let's pull all these threads together now and look at the core strengths, the absolute bedrock of this entire personality structure.
You're not the kind of person who just takes information and accepts it. You learn by watching, by piecing things together, by connecting dots that other people don't even know exist. And that's why rigid, follow-the-rules systems can feel so suffocating to you, because you can see the whole, messy, beautiful context that they completely ignore.
Chances are you are not the loudest person in the room. You just don't feel that need to broadcast every single thought. Instead, you listen, you observe, and when you finally do speak, it's because you have something to say. It has weight. And yeah, people might mistake that quietness for shyness, but it's something else entirely.
I mean, that just says it all, doesn't it? Your power isn't about volume, it's about precision. It's a deliberate, focused strength that doesn't need to yell to be heard.
This right here might be one of the most defining signs. So many people are terrified of being alone. They need constant noise, constant validation from others. But for you, being by yourself isn't a punishment. It's where you recharge. It's peace. Just stop and think about what a massive achievement this really is. To not need anyone else to feel complete. It means you've put in the hard work of actually building a solid relationship with yourself. In a world that's constantly telling us our value is based on likes and follows, this is a radical act of self-reliance.
So, after all of this, what does it all mean? How are we supposed to look at this unique set of traits? It's not about being better or worse, it's just a different design. Think of it as a feature, not a bug.
And there it is. That's the core conflict, isn't it? You're out here trying to be real, to be authentic, in a world that gives trophies for the best performance. You're playing an entirely different game, by a totally different set of rules.
I really want you to hear this part. If you have spent your whole life feeling like a square peg, trying to jam yourself into a round hole, this is your permission to stop. That feeling of not quite fitting in, it is not a sign that something is wrong with you.
It's a sign that your mind was built for a different job entirely. It was designed to dig deeper, to question, to feel things fully, and to carve out its own path, not to just fall in line and follow everyone else. So, as we wrap this up, just sit with this for a second. If all of this stuff we've talked about felt deeply familiar, if it felt less like you were learning something new and more like you were hearing a description of yourself,
Then that feeling you have right now, that's not a coincidence. It's a moment of powerful recognition. It's proof that you get it, that you understand your own unique design. And honestly, that self-awareness, it's the most powerful tool you will ever have.